Hey, it's Bleach. If you like the reactionary content here on YouTube, consider checking out the Patreon. We have so much Taylor Swift content over there. Every single album, every single associated live concert, all the Eras stuff, behind the scenes stuff, interviews. It's incredible. So link is in the description if you're interested. Go check it out, and I hope you enjoy the reaction. See ya. We're going to go ahead and dive right now into the interview portion of this, or the now listening session. But yeah, wow, that was.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor.
Taylor
Swift.
Shout out, let's go.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh, hey guys.
That was really nice. I'm so excited you guys are here. I'm honored that you'd want to be here to talk about how we made 1989. I feel like before we talk about how we made 1989, I should probably tell you all the things that led up to 1989 happening. I had been working with this demo producer named Nathan Chapman, who worked, he worked in it was actually a shack. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I loved the demos that we made together. And so when it came time to make my record, Scott was like, well, you know what? We're gonna put you with producers who have actually made albums before. And I was like, but this guy is so great. And he's like, but has he made an album before? I was like, well, technically no. But, you know, so I went in and I tried it with a lot of different people who are awesome. And it just wasn't that same magic that I got with my demo producer who worked in a shack. And so after a lot of begging and pleading, I got my label to agree to let Nathan Chapman produce my entire first album.
Thank
and
God.
He has worked on every single album that I've done since, including 1989. So
shout out.
That turned out well.
Shout out.
I got to make my next record and I had a little bit more say. And so I got to use Nathan again without any conversations being had. And I made my second album, Fearless, which ended up being kind of the one that was the breakthrough album. Like, it was my first international #1 with Love Story. It was the first time I ever got to hold a Grammy in my hand and then drop it in the press room, which was really embarrassing for me. But that was the album that I felt was simple, to the point, and was it was like a really accurate snapshot of my life at that time. Like,
which, and it's such an incredible album
just
too.
Exactly what I was going through, and it was said very simply. It was sonically cohesive.
Yep.
And that's my favorite thing looking back on that album. After that, I had a lot of people who would say, oh, she's an 18-year-old girl, there's no way that she actually carried her weight in those writing sessions. And that was a really harsh criticism, I felt, because, you know, there was no way I could prove them wrong other than to write my entire next record solo. So that's what I did. There are two albums that I kind of think are like a little bit patchwork quilty sonically, and Speak Now was when we started getting into that. We were like, go string section, whoa, like, but then we'd have banjo on the next track, and you're like, what's going on? But it was us just trying new things and stretching.
Gross.
The next record, Red, is actually a really relevant part of how I got to 1989. And I was getting the ideas exactly the same way I always did. And then, a few months in, they started coming to me as pop melodies. And I could not fight it, and I just embraced it. I just wanted to see what it was like to work with Max Martin, because, you know, the idea of Max Martin, he's so enigmatic, he's so, like, mysterious. You're like, what does he look like? What does he talk like? What does he wear a cloak? Like, and I just wanted to know. I was like, you know, what is a Swedish pop mastermind? What does that look like?
Meanwhile, he's like a Jesus dude with like a beard and long hair, and he's like one of the nicest people too. He's so, I like, and he's worked with major icons, right? Like Britney, NSYNC, like Kelly Clarkson, Katy Perry, all of them. But he's genuinely just like a nice dude. He's kind of a weirdo. But he is brilliant, man. Max Martin is so cool.
Does he know how to play guitar? Like, what is it? I called him and he came over to my house and I said, I love what you do. I want to combine it with what I do, and I I'm a little scared, but I'm not really that scared because I think it could be great. I'm not gonna second guess this. This is just a gut feeling. I think it's gonna work. We went in, we did 3 songs, 2 of which were I Knew You Were Trouble and We Are...
Sorry, just one more thing. Like Max Martin is very much like the Rick Rubin of like the pop world, though. And if a lot of you know Rick Rubin, you know that that's like a huge compliment. But Max Martin is a multi-instrumentalist and somebody who does do a lot of like actual hands-on writing and recording, whereas Rick Rubin's more of like a vibes man, and he definitely has the technical prowess to be able to do whatever he needs to do in a booth or whatever. But Max Martin and Rick Rubin are like pillars in just general music construction.
We went in, we did 3 songs, 2 of which were I Knew You Were Trouble and We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. And that was as much as I was kind of allowed to work with Max on that project.
Damn.
I was also attached to being a country artist at that point. Just really, like, you build these relationships with radio and with the community, and it's sacred. We labeled Red a country album, and it came out, and it was universally agreed on that the songwriting was great, but it was also noted that it was a little bit multiple personality, which it was. And so leading up to how 1989 became 1989, I got nominated for Album of the Year with Red. Going up to it, you know, everybody comes up to you and they're like, oh, you got this, you're gonna win, you're gonna win. And I wish they wouldn't do that because you don't know if you're gonna win. And someone else could very well win, and someone else very well did. When they announced the Album of the Year winner, it was like, and the Album of the Year goes to Random Access Memories, Daft Punk. And they really dragged out the and I was like, for a second there, I kind of thought we had it, and we didn't. I remember not going to after parties. I went home.
I loved
and I cried a little bit. I got In-N-Out Burger and ate a lot.
Hell yeah.
And I just was thinking,
oh yes, ma'am, absolutely. In-N-Out is the shit. Fire.
I got In-N-Out Burger and ate a lot. And I just was thinking a lot before bed about what I had made so far for the next album that was to become 1989, but I didn't know that then. We don't make music so we can like win a lot of awards, but you have to take your cues from somewhere if you're going to continue to evolve. You have a few options when you don't win an award. You can decide like, oh, they're wrong. They all voted wrong. Second, you can be like, I'm going to go up on the stage and take the mic from whoever did win it.
I love her.
Or
I love
third,
her, man.
You can say, maybe they're right. Maybe I did not make the record of my career. Maybe I need to fix the problem, which was that I have not been making sonically cohesive albums. And so I went to bed, and I woke up at 4 in the morning. I'm like, it's called 1989. I've been making 80s synth pop. I'm just going to do that. I'm calling it a pop record. I am not listening to anyone at my record label. I'm starting tomorrow.
Amen.
And so that's what I did. I got not a few, I got like a dozen sit downs over the music that I made for this album because I went in with Max. I asked him to co-executive produce it with me. And with Red, I had learned that I really do like collaborating with different producers. I had worked with, on Red, I'd worked with Jeff Basker and Butch Walker, done some things with Nathan, worked with Dan Huff, and just really kind of, you know, Dan Wilson, just awesome people. And I liked the idea of collaborating. But I think with 1989, I decided I was going to narrow down the list. And it wasn't going to be 10 co-producers. It was going to be a very small team of maybe 4 or 5 people that I'd always wanted to work with or loved working with.
Sure.
And Max and I were going to oversee it, and we were going to make a sonically cohesive record again. We were going to approach it the way I approached Fearless. And so that's how we got to the record the way that it was. So that is where we get to the point where now I'm going to tell you how we made the album. So I'm going to start with a song called Blank Space. And Blank Space is a song that I wrote as kind of like a satire The media decided that I dated too many people. You know, you're sitting at an award show and there's there's gonna be a joke about you being a serial dater in the monologue, and you're just sitting there like, I'm 22 and this is rude. But instead of writing a song like, it's so rude, stop picking on me, I kind of like sat back and thought about how complex this character was that they'd drawn up for me. Like, she's jet-setting all over the world, collecting men, and like, oh, she's so clingy once she gets them, but she can get any of them, but then they run because she's so crazy, and like, she like moves in day 2, like crazy stuff like that. And I just thought like, this is amazing. Like, I need to write a song from this girl's perspective. Like, if you want to play this way, like, we can play this way. And I just decided to be her for one song. And I was going in to write with Max Martin and Shellback, who are 2 of the primary collaborators on 1989.
Hell yeah.
And I was preparing all these things, and I think Blank Space was like the 3rd thing I played them. And they just stopped and they were like, no, this is the first thing we're working on today. I have the original voice memo of me playing it for them. They start shouting out, ohs, like in the chorus and stuff. There's also a part of the song that goes like, I've got a blank space, baby, and I'll write your name. I did that when I played them the original idea. And you'll hear Max go, oh my God, I love it. That's so annoying. They're all gonna kill you. I had the idea for the chorus and I had the hook, but a lot of the verse is gibberish, which you're about to hear in a second.
Nice to meet you where you've been. I could show you incredible things. Diamonds, seasides on these dunes. It's in oh my God. Listen, I do too. It's gonna be forever. I'm gonna go, yeah. Hey, I'm gonna go down in flames.
This is like an early 2000s Nelly track now.
It is old, yeah.
Tell you what I can say. But I've got a blank space, baby. I'll write your name. What's this, baby? I'll write your name.
So annoying. I go off into a corner and start writing all the lyrics for the rest of the song. When the chorus hits, you hear this, oh! And you even hear like a hint of it sampled in the intro. That's me and Shellback screaming. Oh! 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 Ho! Oh! 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 Oh!
It's so cute.
So this was the most simple production because we really wanted it to be about the lyrics. The way that I approach the lyrics on this song is I'll be like out and I'll just write, like if I get like some zinger in my head, I'll just like write it down on an endless note thing in my phone.
Same.
And a lot of those lines were from just things I had come up with in the past year, like darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream, and lines like that. Like I had kind of come up with a lot of the lines before I got in there. There's a Prophet 5 chorus bass that just comes in on the chorus. And it's pretty simple. We just started with the 808 and they just put down a kick and a snare, and it's a really sparse track. That's what we mainly wanted it to be. We wanted it to be about the lyric and the vocal. So that kind of Rhodes-ish, that like ding, 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 ding. I'm gonna play the song afterwards so you can hear what all this is. But that came from a Mellotron. And the Mellotron was really helpful for us in kind of coming up with sounds. Sometimes we later replaced them with real instruments, but with this one we just straight from the Mellotron. The vocals were the most important part, and we did a lot of troubleshooting
like a built-in instrument in a
mics.
DAW or
And the
something
main
like
mic that Max and Shellback and I used was the Neumann M49, and it just sounded better than everything else. So that's what we used for the entirety of what we did together. I feel like we should just play Blank Space now.
Okay, if you're watching this on the YouTube, just a heads up, we will be skipping through songs. That way this video doesn't get taken down, because I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of music on here. So this is just a heads up. If you see a lot of skips, it's because we'll be skipping through the songs. But if you're watching on Patreon, you get the whole thing uncut. So check out the Patreon, links in the description.
I'm going to preface this by saying this is like the most complicated track probably that we'll talk about. The reason being that this was done a completely different way than I usually write. I'm not used to writing to track. Like, I know it's done in pop music all the time, but I've never written that way. The song I'm about to play you is called Out of the Woods. And this...
Written to track. What does that mean? Oh, so it's literally just writing to a preconceived track. Okay.
This is a track that Jack Antonoff sent to me, and I was actually on a plane. I got it, and I got on a plane, and I'm listening to it. I'm just like listening to it and like mumbling melodies, because the song came to me immediately in full. But the way that Jack creates his tracks is really interesting. We're gonna dive into his world now. He's a very quirky individual. I have seen him get out an old dictaphone when we're on the street in New York and record a bus passing us. Like, it's just, it's very different than anything I've experienced. I think what I should start by playing you is when I got the track, what I sent him about an hour later. And it is me singing what came to me, which ended up being the finished version of the song, or at least really close to it.
God,
and
she's so
also,
good at
this is
one
the exact
take.
voice memo I sent him, so it's kind of embarrassing. We talk in gremlin voice when we're in the studio because we have this weird inside joke about the movie Gremlins. And so I'll be like in the booth and I'll be like, how was that one? And it's just, so there's that on it. But I figure like we're just talking about everything today. So this is what I sent him. So here's the melody that I've come up with in the lyric. It's called Out of the Woods. And it is, it goes like this. And when I sing, remember, remember, that's like a vocal echo, but I'm gonna sing it like, you get it. I hope you like it. I hope you like it.
I hope you like it.
So,
so
the main
cute.
snare is a combo of white noise that he got through blowing out the EMI board, clapping his hands, and no joke, dropping his gear bag. He mic'd that up on the floor. So that's Jack. The song itself, what I wrote about this,
People who write like that are so obnoxiously talented. Like, I used to write and record in a small band in high school. I've been in so many bands. But one of the first ones I was ever in was in high school. I cannot remember our band name now, but it was me and this kid, Joy. And he was so incredibly talented as a songwriter. And I was mostly just like all the guitar work. He played a little guitar, but I was like mostly the guitar work. And he was vocals, and like we would, after school, we would sit down and we would just write and write and write. We had like 20 songs in in a month or something like that. We had written like 20 or 30 songs. We had so many. And we used to go to this kid. His name was Zach. I'm not going to say his last name. But he was awesome too. And he was like he was like 15 or something like that. And he was just a really cool dude. And he had a little studio in his parents' basement. And he used to record a lot of stuff like that. Like, I would record 2 or 3 different guitar takes as like a lead, a rhythm, and then like a stereo guitar just to like fill in blanks here and there. And then Joy would do his vocals. And then if he wanted to, his own kind of like guitar take, which we didn't usually need. But then Zach would, the entire production of the whole thing, he would end up recording things in his room, like blinds opening and closing, curtains opening and closing, At one point, he like dropped his mic stand on the floor, and we used that as like a kick. He used to do hi-hats he would mic his fingers like tapping whatever he wanted the hi-hat to be like on his desk, and then he would just pitch them way up, and those would end up being hi-hats, and he'd put like little reverbs on it and stuff. But he was like an organic song creator. He didn't use a lot of sample packs or anything like that, and he was really excellent at it. So shout out to Jack, and shout out to anybody who makes like organic samples like that. It's always really cool to me.
Hearing this track, it just kind of conjured up all these like feelings of anxiety that I had had in a relationship where everybody was watching, everybody was commenting on it. You're constantly just feeling like, are we out of the woods yet? What's the next thing going to be? What's the next hurdle we're going to have to jump over it? Are we going to make it to next week? It was interesting to write about a relationship where you're just honestly like, this is probably not going to last, but how long is it going to last? Those
Sure.
fragile relationships, there's something, it doesn't mean they're not supposed to happen. How
Yeah.
the whole time we were having happy memories or crazy memories or ridiculously anxious times, in my head it was just like, are we okay yet? Are we there yet? Are we out of this yet? And so that
Every relationship, whether it was good or bad, is a building block to ultimately what will be like your final relationship that will hopefully last the remainder of your life, or a trial program into you realizing maybe you just want to be alone forever. You know what I mean? Like, but there's no such, there's only lessons, and unfortunately some of them are good and some of them are bad.
are we there yet? Are we out of this yet? And so that is what I wrote the song about, and now I'll play. The next song that I'm going to play for you is a different collaborator, because I want
know
you to hear
Places.
something from each person almost on 1989. The next person is Ryan Tedder. He's made some of the coolest things, just great songs, and I wanted to do well in the writing session, so I emailed him a lot of songs, and one of them was this song called I Know Places. And I had this idea of like, when you're in love, it's this very kind of along the lines of Out of the Woods, it's very precious, it's fragile. As soon as the world gets a hold of it, whether it's your friends or people around town hear about it, it's kind of like the first thing people want to do when they hear that people are in love is just kind of try to ruin it if they're not the greatest human beings. I kind of was in a place where I was like, no one's going to sign up for this. There are just too many cameras pointed at me. There are too many ridiculous elaborations on my life. It's just
Heartbreaking.
It's not ever going to work. But I decided to write a love song, just kind of like, what would I say if I met someone really awesome and they were like, hey, I'm worried about like all this attention you get. So I wrote this song called I Know Places about like, hey, I know places we could hide. We could outrun them. And so I sent the idea to Ryan, and this is me trying to explain to him how I wanted it to sound, which is also embarrassing. My voice memos are embarrassing.
No, they're so cool. I love them.
Okay, so this is kind of this rough idea thing.
Crazy to see how this is how it started.
Say what they want about, say what they want about us. And you come and I sing on your sin. I would not think about nothing. Never know that a thing or two about it, cause they got the cages, they got the boxes and guns. They are the hunters, we are the foxes, and we run away. I know some places we won't be found, and they'll be chasing their tails, trying to track us down. Cause I know places we can hide. I know places, or whatever, I don't know, but that's basically just like a dark, really dark, like
lyric, like bridge thing, and it's about like everybody's like trying to get in and like ruin a love or whatever, and it's like you just.
I love her being like icked out by herself on voice memos. I feel like we all feel that way listening back to her voice or us talking about anything. Anytime I have to like edit a video, right? Anytime I have to edit a video or make a TikTok or anything and I got to listen back as I edit it, I'm like, ugh, what is wrong with me? Like, I don't know how to talk. I hate my voice. Like, it's always so, like, you know, it's so cringy, but, you know, we get by.
Whatever, you know. And then the chorus would just go to that major and just like be like, oh, chorus. So I hope you like. It wouldn't be a piano thing. It'd be like, like very like beat. Now I'm just making weird sounds. Hope you like it.
I love it.
So that was when we ended up writing. And so I got to the studio and he was already kind of working on the track a little bit, which was exciting. What we ended up with was I kind of was just like, we need to just kind of make it sound a little bit like a spy movie in a weird way in the verses.
Yeah.
Like I wanted the choruses to just soar. I wanted the choruses to be a chorus. But in the verses I wanted to play around with different rhythms, and we ended up in a really good place with that. I sang a lot of the background vocals, but so did Ryan, because Ryan has a really good voice. He did them on his tour bus because he was on tour, so he was in this double-decker tour bus in Switzerland. He used a Sony mic and an Apogee Apollo on his laptop, and the synth was a Juno 106. We also did a song called Welcome to New York on 1989 together, and it was the same synth he used for that. It ended up being something I'm so proud of, and I'm so happy that it sounds like the urgency that it sings about. And I will go ahead.
That bass. I love that bass that rolls in there.
So the next one I'm going to talk to you about, I actually did with Imogen Heap. Someone asked me in an interview, who would you like to work with? And I said Imogen Heap. I get an email to my management sent, like, Imogen just saw that Taylor said in an interview that she'd like to work together. She said, why don't you come out to my studio? It's actually where I live too. So I go all the way out to her house. Before that, I had gotten an idea that I thought would be perfect for us to write. And it was this idea when you get your heart broken or you lose someone from your life, or when you're trying to recover from a breakup, it's almost like the same kind of struggle that someone goes through trying to beat addiction. It's not one habit you're breaking. It's every single minute of the day you're breaking a habit. And it's exhausting. I had this metaphor in my head about like being in this house and there's been a drought, but you feel like there's a storm coming, and so instead of trying to block out the storm, you like punch a hole in the roof and just let all the rain come in, and when you wake up in the morning, it's washed away everything that used to hurt you. And then you're clean. I'll play you this thing that I sent her, and then I'll tell you exactly how we created the track.
And I hold my head, and I hold my head as I lost the door, and the sky turned black like a perfect sky. Down when I was drowning, when I could finally breathe.
Oh, Clean is so good, dude.
So that was me figuring out what the chorus needed to be. So the coolest thing about Imogen for me was that there was no one else in the studio. There was no assistant, there was no engineer. It was her doing everything. So I loved that. It was like an incredible experience for me to watch her do everything that she does on the technical side of things. There's this hook in the song. The main musical hook is this tuned percussion called an mbira, and she has it in her studio, and that was what she did to create the main musical hook. And then she used these things called boom whackers, which are tuned percussion, which I'm going to show you videos of both because I had to video it.
Oh yeah, I have one of these. I'm stupid. Oh, she's got a big one though.
This is the mbira.
I have a little one. God, that's so cool. It's like raindrops.
That's me. So this isn't.
I didn't know they were called imbiras. Interesting. I've just been calling mine like a pluck. Like I've been saying, like give me the pluck instrument. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the back room. But she has a much bigger one. That's cool.
This is another like important percussion sound.
never actually seen anybody use those tubes before. That's awesome.
So you end up hearing like
We used to use those tubes to teach like first-year students percussion and stuff like that.
both of those. They're a main sound. They're not tucked in. You'll hear them. My vocal was 2 takes.
Shout
She
out.
was just
Damn.
like, we're fine. Well, she was actually like, we're fine, it's fine. 'Cause she's British. I was just like,
cool as fuck.
please sing on it, please sing on it, please sing on it. So she did all these Imogen Heap background vocals, which were just, I thought
Haunting
that
and
she did
gorgeous.
some kind of effect to her voice to make it sound like that. And she doesn't.
No, it's just
it
how
just
her
sounds like that when she sings out of her mouth.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Which was wild. Oh my God. I was trying so
She's so
hard
cool.
to remain some kind of level of like unaffected in the way that like British
Professional?
people feel comfortable around. So I was like, take your hands off your
Who is this guy? This guy looks fucking familiar. I don't know if he's from like Rascal Flatts or Good Charlotte or he seems familiar.
face. Take them off your face. Take them off your face. Put them away. Holster that. And the full thing was 9 hours, and then she sent me the mix the next day, and it was done. I guess I'll just go ahead and play it for you now. So the last song that I'm gonna talk to you about is Shake It Off. 1989 was essentially a celebration. Like, I changed every part of my life. I focused every part of my life on different things than I'd focused it on before. I new adventures and everything. And I kind of stopped caring. Like, I'm very well aware of like what everyone says about me, every
Sure.
single thing.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
difference between now and 3 years ago is I honestly don't care anymore.
Amen.
It's just like,
It's gonna happen. People are gonna talk their shit. Fuck them.
and life is much better that way. And I
Amen.
kind of wanted to write something that sounded like the way I feel about all that. But the problem was I had all these lyrics and I didn't have, like writing session was coming up and I'm just like, I'm not getting a melody. I'm dead. I don't know what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do. The thought terrified me, so I kind of sulked into the studio and I was like, guys, I have like an idea that's like lyric, but I know the vibe I want. I want it to start off, and the second the song starts, I want it to be the song where like if it's played at a wedding and there's this one girl who hasn't danced all night at the reception, all her friends come over and they're like, you have to dance, come on, you have to dance on this one. That's what I wanted. So I was like, Shellback, can you just go to the drum kit and try to play that? There's
Yeah, play
one
that
thing that I
idea.
have always said to Max is like, I don't like horns. Just always had a thing
Crazy.
about it. I was always like weirdly scared of it or intimidated by horns. I don't know what it was.
Crazy. Horns and brass, like any brass in general, is just like, that's my sweet spot. I fucking love brass. I love brass over strings. I love brass, like trumpet, saxophone, tuba, yuba, or what is it, oba, something like that. Whatever. I love
It's
that
a
shit.
weird, like, nerdy studio fear of mine. It's like, no horns. And I don't even know, I don't have a reason for it. I love songs that have horns on them. I was just like, I don't think I can pull off horns. Strange. But he goes over the Mellotron and he starts playing with this horn sound. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't
Time to
do
work
that.
out that fear.
And he's like, no, I think this is cool. I'm like, no, it's not cool. And where are your chorus chords? Because that you're just playing 3 chords over and over again, and I can't make a chorus out of them. Why don't you go to like a chorus chord that starts off a chorus? Where's the one? Like, why don't you go? And then all of a sudden there was this moment where I thought of the whole chorus. And it was over the chords that I had just told him are not chorus chords, which is a ridiculous thing to say.
Yeah,
The chorus of
that's
Shake
fair.
It Off just came out in like kind of one fell swoop, and so this is the moment that I admitted to him.
Which is great. I could not think of Shake It Off without the horns. I say out too late.
Came out in like kind of one fell swoop, and so this is the moment that I admitted to him that this was a chorus and that the horns would work. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1. Players gonna play. Haters gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake. Shake it off. Ooh. Listen to this. Cause the haters gonna wait. Cause the player's gonna play. Haters gonna hate. I'm just gonna shake it off. High five.
Truly inspirational lyrics.
And it sounds like a chorus. So
Truly inspirational
that
lyrics of a
happened.
generation.
So so the Mellotron, he then replaced it in Sweden. He went to Sweden. He got a real horn section. You might have heard in the voice memo there was like a guitar sound, but it didn't really sound like a guitar because it's a cigar box that has strings on it that Max was like intent on playing on this song, even though you barely even hear it in the song. He was like, I want to play, get the cigar box. I need the cigar box to be on the song. It was just kind of like we were in a mood that day. Then there was a lot of stomping in this that we got in a very interesting way. This is me and Shellback creating the stomping sound that you hear throughout this song.
Oh, cool.
Okay, you ready? Yeah. I'm like, hey!
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Real professionals. There are a lot of vocal parts in this that we thought of that we loved, which is like, there's a lot of like, hoo, hoo, and like, then there's in the end, there's like, ba, 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 and we almost wanted it to sound kind of bad. We didn't want it to sound like professional, like
Natural.
it was a group of
Yeah.
great singers doing it, so we sang it like this, and this is Max and me and Shellback singing the background vocals for the end of the song.
Like it's a group, like it's friends having fun. Yeah.
That's what Max Martin looks like. Yeah. So that's the end of the song. We're gonna play Shake It Off, and then I'm gonna just come and say hi to you. Thank you so much for coming. This turnout is unbelievable. I cannot believe all of you are in this room right now. So thank you so much for wanting to come and hear about some of the songs off my record.
You
Thank
stay
you,
right there
T-Tech.
for a little
I'll
while.
stay right here.
We actually have a presentation to be made by our P&E wing co-chairs.
I'm Frank Liddell. I know most of y'all, and along with Reed Shippen here, I'm co-chairman of the Nashville P&E Wing Committee. Taylor, that was spectacular. I want you to know we do this a few times a year, or some incarnation. It's usually a handful of us that get up here and do it, and I just want to tell you, I feel really bad for whoever's next.
Yeah, that was amazingly inspiring. That was such a breath of fresh air.
Thank you.
I'm going back to the studio and muting 3/4 of the shit on the track. All right, I have cards because I get really nervous talking next to Frank. And so everybody here tonight has dedicated their career to helping artists achieve musical vision and, you know, be the best that they can be. And in this room, we've got some of the best producers and engineers in this town, and that's saying a lot because this town is full of incredible talent.
And you might not know this, but in order to be accepted into the P&E wing, you have to accumulate a certain amount of credits as either a producer or an engineer.
And you've done that. So Taylor, we would like to say congratulations and welcome and officially induct you into Nashville's
Hey!
Producers and Engineers Wing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey!
Thank you.
Well deserved. Well deserved. Hell yeah. Well then. Well then.
You should have told me that before.
Ooh la la,
I would
yeah.
have been so nervous.
Are we getting into like songs now? Yeah, I think we did all these.
I'm going to play you a song that I wrote about a relationship that I was in, that the number one feeling I felt in the whole relationship was anxiety.
Okay, I believe we did these. Let me just see if there's any more conversational pieces. If there's anything on the outro here. No, okay, so that was the whole conversation. Okay. Dude, give her a damned round of applause, why don't you? T-Tay, Big Tay in the building, Big Taylor Swift, somebody we genuinely have grown to love and appreciate immensely over here Unbelievable, dude. First off, the conversation was so okay. I love when artists break down the creation of songs and albums and stuff like that, because I like to just see where their heads come from. And 99% of the time, artists like I think a lot of people think there's like these big secret tricks that happen in like these major recording labels of like people being like, shh, nobody can know this. This is the secret fuel. This is the secret formula we use to make it. It's not. It's a bunch of and take it from me, somebody who has spent 15 years in recording studios in general, not as like an engineer by no means, but just I've coexisted amongst these like creators everywhere from like Indiana to West Virginia to Virginia, like somebody who's been around the block when it comes to just general sound engineer, song creation, recording, mixing, mastering, and stuff like that. The secret trick is that you just get somebody who's nerdy enough to be able to sit down and fine tune everything that an artist's explosive creative imagination is able to come out with. 9 times out of 10, you get artists that come in with ideas. Well, actually, I would say maybe 7 or 8 times out of 10. What typically happens is an artist comes to a studio and they have 10 ideas. And usually what it amounts to is like a minute's worth of 10 different songs that they need to fully flesh out into 3 to 4 minutes. And a lot of these producers, engineers, recording artists, mixers, and mostly, anyways, they're just there to help you flesh out the idea. There is that 2 out of 10 that occasionally come in. They just have everything written and done. They just need you to record it, mix it in a way that makes it cohesive, and then we shoot it off for somebody to master it and make it sound incredible. But most of the time, it is between an artist and a sound engineer or recording artist or a recording engineer to just sit down and like fully develop what these ideas are and get them fleshed out. And most of the time, it is what we just saw. It is just a great time, as long as you get a recording engineer who genuinely loves his job and has fun with it, is you guys just sit back and go, okay, here's my idea. How do we bring this to life? And it could be anywhere from beating on equipment in the studio, playing the instruments as you should, recording your sound in your space, really whatever makes the idea come to fruition. And it's typically a lot of fun, especially when you have artists who are musically knowledgeable or music theory knowledgeable, who are able to sit down and be like, well, I need an A minor diminished 7 over this an A minor diminished 7 over this F over D major to blend into like my rundown of like a G minor open E C, whatever. And that's like how you can kind of nerd out about chord theory and all that kind of stuff. And then you 5 minutes later you find yourself sitting on the ground, stomping your feet like and shake it off to get like these percussionals or whatever, or like a Jack Antonoff where you're recording a bus going by so you get some ambiance, some soundscape, or you compress that down into like a fucking tambourine, or who knows, or like the dropping the bag on the ground to get like a kick going. Like that's most of what studio production can be. Now, obviously that's more for like pop and folk and. You know, when you're in rock and metal, everything's kind of fine-tuned a little bit, depending on the kind of music you make. But it varies, is what I'm trying to say. Regardless, what I'm saying is there is some special formula that comes to mixing and mastering. There are, and 9 out of 10 times the special formula is that these sound engineers, these mixers and masters are so incredible at being able to fine tune these sounds and know where EQ is supposed to sit, know where instruments are supposed to sit, and then how to like bust them together, or how to there's a term I'm thinking of right now that I can't where they tie the instruments, or where they tie them with stuff. I can't remember what it's called, but regardless, it is the knowledge they have in soundscape in general that makes the song sound so unbelievably like a song. You know what I'm trying to say? But a lot of the things that end up getting into the song itself is the artist and the recording engineer, and how much fun they can have together. So I just love to see that like Taylor enjoys the songwriting process, and she also loves sharing it with us so we can get a little bit of insight into like how her mind works and how mind-boggling it is that she is so multi-talented and multi-instrumentally talented. And then she's also just a realist. She knows that like some of these ideas may sound cringy and corny, and we can work on them, and I can admit when I'm wrong. But she also just goes in well prepared, but also open to criticism and creative ideas, which is what makes the music so unbelievably incredible, is because she is so open to whatever the best thing is for the song, not whatever is my idea for the song. You know what I mean? So shout out to Tite. Shout out to every Patreon member on here. Shout out to you. If you're watching this on the YouTube, check out the Patreon for your boy if you don't mind. The link is in the description. We've got we got months worth of Taylor content over there on the Patreon for as low as I think the Taylor stuff is under $10 a month, but then we also have just regular bonus content for $5 a month. So consider joining. Patreon members, I love you guys. As always, I love Tite. Please let me know in the comment of this video your like how you felt about this reaction, how much you love Taylor, and what you would like to see next. Please do not refrain from messaging me here on Patreon or on Discord things you want to see from Taylor Swift or things you just want to see on Patreon in general. Big love to each and every one of you. I hope you guys enjoyed this reaction, and I will see you in the next one. Big love. Bye.